for Congress,
Okay.
United States House of Representatives,
Right.
Florida Congressional District 20,
Mm-hmm.
and it's all about character. It's the same message that I've been carrying through the Department of Juvenile Justice and the needs for our youth and families, and strengthen our families, strengthen our character, and strengthen our community.
Okay.
And our children are our future, and as you know, my work has been within the Department of Juvenile Justice, working with our most at-risk kids, and bringing them into the 21st century, is where we're working, what we're doing. Well, the most important thing would be to empower the community to transform, to rise up to where we need to end up being. The Congressional District 20 has pretty much been left behind, and it has, in all of Palm Beach County and in Broward, it is the poorest community. And so we need jobs. We need to bring jobs into the community. We need to take and reduce crime. This is one of the areas that I've worked with our community leaders, and that's primarily where my focus is to engage the faith and community partners to take back our community. Well, in the community, what I'm hearing right now is there's a fear. There's a fear in this community, and it's brought on because we have a lot of youth that are running around wild. I was out in the Glades, and I was talking to a lady out there, and she says that, every night we hear gunshots, and and it's kids just roaming the streets. And my focus has been in terms of empowering our children to end up bringing us to the next, to the 21st century. As you know, I'm a youth pastor at my church, and we have come across a very good program. It's called the Alpha Series. And the Alpha Series is a character-based program that focuses on the inward person, the individual, and empowers them with the knowledge in terms of who they are, their character, who they are. And once they have recognized the good that lies within them, there's this transformation of change that happens, and it becomes less about ourselves and more about helping our community. That's what we really need to end up looking at. We need to stop looking in, and we need to start looking out.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in gave proof through the night that a flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land and of the free, and the home of the brave.
As we go through the discussion today. First of all, does that candidate share my values? And let me explain to you a little bit about my values, because my values have been the same for 8 years. For 8 years, I've represented folks here in Palm Beach County. Last 4 years as your state senator. These are the values that I have, and these are the values that I share with the people of District 34. First of all, I believe in a fair wage for every man and woman in this state. I believe that if you're a woman and you're making 77 cents to the dollar for the same amount of work that a man makes, that should change. Every woman should make the same amount of money a man makes for the same type of work. Number two, I believe in raising the minimum wage. Here in the state of Florida, we have a minimum wage of about $7. Nobody can make a living on that. So we need to make sure that the candidate that you support also supports raising the minimum wage. Number three, I think it's our time, ladies. I think women today need to let the government know that we don't need the government in the examining room with our doctors. This is between us and our doctor, and the government doesn't have to be there. I also believe that women should make their own choices when it comes to their health rights, and the insurance company should be there to pay for that, not just for the health care of men, which is also very, very good, but it needs to be across the board also with women. And I believe in supporting our teachers. I believe that education comes when you pay your teachers a fair wage, because God bless them, they're the ones who are tasked with educating our children. And you've got to fund our public schools. Instead of cutting the amount of money for our public schools, we have to make sure that we have the money there. And I believe in getting the guns out of our community. We don't need any more guns here. We need to make sure that you can't bring guns in child care facilities or any place else where we, in this county, in Palm Beach County especially, have deemed you should not bring guns.
I'm David Silvers. I'm running for House District 89. A little bit about myself. I'm a native Floridian. I grew up down here. I went to the University of Florida for a degree in economics. I have a law degree and MBA in finance from the University of Miami. I've been in the private sector for the past decade. Now, the big issue that gets me going is education. As both Senator Sachs and Ellen mentioned, education is tantamount to, it's extremely important to turn our education system around here in the state of Florida. I saw firsthand how it affected my own business. Now, I ran a small cable system in Port St. Lucie from 05 to 07, and we grew from about 10 employees to 50 in 2 years. Now, I had to hire head of programming, head of customer service, head of CFO, and I lost every recruit outside the state of Florida based on one issue. Every recruit who had young children based on the same issue. It was schools. They refused to come down here because of our school system, and that was shocking to me. It was upsetting. As a native Floridian, I couldn't believe that that was the state of our education system. Now, that was 7 years ago. These were people that were looking to live in Palm Beach County. Now, I know that education is not the only issue. There are many issues throughout the district. Now, as a coastal district, property insurance has been another major issue. We've been canvassing for the past 5 months. We've spoken to maybe 7,000 people, and the same issue keeps coming up over and over again for homeowners. Why is my property insurance going up? There hasn't been a major storm in 7, 8, 9 years. They just want somebody in Tallahassee that's going to fight for them, and that's what I want to do. But I realize that we need to bring people to the table, and if we have rates that are too low, that you could risk everybody being left in the dark. So we have to have fair rates, and that's what I really want to bring back to Tallahassee. So, and then another issue outside of education and the environment is the environment. We all know sea level rise is here to stay, and we got to do something to combat that. It's a big issue, and as a coastal issue, it affects the district from Boca Raton all the way to Singer Island. So, and also, thank you, and as well as sober homes. I want legislation that will have some teeth to it. I have a great working relationship with Senator Clemens, with Representative Kerner and Representative Berman, who all, coincidentally enough, have endorsed me. I look forward to going to Tallahassee and putting forth legislation that will have some real teeth to it.
I want to recognize Mayor Jerry Taylor, who was just here. Mayor Taylor has endorsed me in my re-election. I'm Bill Hager. I'm a current member of the Florida House of Representatives, representing House District 89. That district starts in Boca Raton. It hugs the coast all the way up to West Palm Beach, picks up the town of Palm Beach, and picks up Singer Island. From a background standpoint, I'm a former mathematics teacher. I've been in the schools. I know the challenges that come to bear for our teachers and for our kids. I'm a lawyer. I'm a lawyer in Boca Raton and work hard at it. I have two daughters that have been raised with me in House District 89. One of my daughters is a lawyer and employed in Boston. My other daughter is a consultant working in Washington, D.C. You know, in terms of background from a people standpoint, I've worked hard in this district for a quarter century on the Boca Raton Regional Hospital, with United Way, with the American Cancer Society, with the National Conference of Christians and Jews. From an employment standpoint, I was Chief Executive Officer of a large corporation based in this district. And in fact, met a payroll across 10 years of about $1 billion. And I never missed a payroll check. I never bounced a payroll check. I never failed to pay one of my employees. I know about fiscal responsibility. From a legislative standpoint, I spent 7 years on the City Council of Boca Raton. I know the relationship between City Council, cities, and the legislature. I was named Legislator of the Year by the Palm Beach League of Cities. I just finished 4 years in the legislature. In terms of work, using Senator Sachs' criteria, here's been my work in the legislature. I was able to gain a Holocaust survivor appropriation of some $250,000 to be made available directly to Holocaust survivors. I kept e-cigarettes away from our youth. I've kept cigarettes out of the K-12 system, and for that work was awarded the American Cancer Society's Legislator of the Year. I was successful unanimously in getting sober home legislation through the House of Representatives. We're going to get the senators off their duff next round, and we're going to get them to vote for it.
I ran for Congress because I, like many of you here, was very disgusted with all the fighting and the dysfunction in Washington, D.C. And I was determined to take my mayor's attitude of can do, get something done, work across party line, and break the logjam. And above all, I said I was going to be on your side, and I believe I've kept my promise. You know, there's been a lot of attention lately on world crises from Iraq to Ebola, and I want to continue my work on Foreign Affairs Committee. But even more important for me is to focus right on what's going on right here in the United States of America. We need, for us to be secure, we need a strong economy and places where hard work gets you a good life, a chance to raise a family, and retire in dignity. And in Congress, I'm taking steps to make that happen. First, protecting Medicare and Social Security for the millions of seniors and disabled that rely on every month just to make ends meet. And that's why I helped to stop a proposed cut in Social Security benefits, and why I filed a tough new bill to crack down on scam artists who steal Medicare numbers. And number two, we need to stand up for the men and women who have served us in the military. And that's why my office continued to process scores of veterans' benefits, even when the government was shut down. And number three, we need to jumpstart our middle class. And that means by investing in our physical and human infrastructure. That's why I helped write a new law that will bring thousands of jobs to South Florida, clean up our Everglades, and signed on bills to raise the minimum wage, to make college more affordable, and to make sure we enforce equal pay for equal work. But there's lots more to do. I'm honored to serve you. I'm Lois Frankel. I'm always on your side.
My name is Paul Spain. I'm obviously not a career politician, and that's a good thing in Washington, D.C. today. There are too many people that go to our nation's capital, and they stay there until they're 90, 95 years old. They're not effective leaders. They don't have practical business experience, yet they're making decisions on our economy today that impact us greatly. My opponent talked about working across party lines. That's my main objective when I go to Washington, D.C., is working across party lines, because I was just up there, and there is no work across party lines. I will assure you. They're polarized. People need to get out, discuss things with each other, and get something done in this country. My priority will be health care. protecting seniors, creating jobs, moving this economy along. I had the experience in that. I retired after 20 years as a financial advisor in May of this year. I had extensive experience working with railroads, transportation companies, health insurance, disability insurance, working with seniors to make sure their money does not outlive them. I think it's outrageous that the Democrat Party has cut $800 billion from our Medicare recipients. I think when I go back to Washington, D.C., if I'm fortunate enough to win this election, I will restore every cent of that. I will stop these drastic cuts in our military today. I don't know whether many of you realize it or not, but we have less ships in the ocean than we did before World War II. That's a travesty. Our nation is facing a real threat. It's called Ebola. Yet our president refuses to stop flights from countries where people are infected. That disease has a 90% fatality rate. It's nothing to kid around. So here's what I propose we do in this country. We seal the borders, and I would like to ask Ms. Frankel if she would join me and condemn the illegal immigration issue in Florida, in the southern part of our country, and I would also ask her that she vote with me to close these flights from other nations that people have Ebola. It's essential to our country. We do not need a pandemic here. It will be catastrophic for our economy and for our financial security.
My name is Jay Bonner, and I am running for Congress, United States House of Representatives, Florida Congressional District 20. I am a professional land surveyor. That's what I do for a living. I've been a surveyor, land surveyor for 27 years. If you were to buy or sell a piece of property or work in a development project and you're asked to get a boundary survey, I'm the guy that actually does that. I work enough to be able to give to my community. My business is my wife and I, and for over a decade, I have been donating my time, giving my time to the community. I first recognized almost 12 years ago that in my business, the success of my business depended upon the character of the people that I was doing work with. And we launched a character initiative, which was the Character Council of Palm Beach County, which was a group of businessmen that supported the school district's character education program. This program was very successful. It was taken over by the United Way, and so we absolved the corporation. And at that time, I was getting involved with our youth in the Department of Juvenile Justice, which I volunteered my time. And I served there to the point to where I became the chair of the Circuit 15 Juvenile Justice Board. And in the time that I was there, we launched the Faith Initiative. Now, it was interesting that in the state of Florida, prior to our work with the faith community and bringing faith and community partners there, that we did not have chaplains in our juvenile facilities. And so I had the great privilege of being in Tallahassee and talking with the Secretary of the Department of Juvenile Justice, who was a Baptist preacher at the time, about the need that we have for chaplains in our juvenile facilities, and lo and behold, 3 years later, we now have chaplains in our facilities today. Also, I came to find out that we needed additional classroom space, and in that we had a need in the Department of Juvenile Justice and the detention center for classroom space. And so I work with the school district administration and our legislators to end up putting this together. Now, why am I saying that? And the reason being is because to end up making all of these things happen, it took a concerned citizen that was giving of his time to the community, recognizing needs, and bringing a team together, a partnership that brought forth success to our community. This innovation, this motivation, and this entrepreneur skills that I have in terms of running my own business, I want to bring to Congress. I want to do so with your support in order to be your congressman.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me thank the League of Women Voters. When I moved to Broward County 51 years ago, it was an exciting experience during that period of time for me. And 5 years later, when the League of Women Voters was chartered in Broward County, I became the second male member of that organization. I was the
Hold your applause, please.
first male member of the National Organization of Women in Broward County. I only mention that for the reason that it is so significant and critical that you do what is being done here today. I'm delighted to be here with many of my colleagues, and as you can see, the people with the blue shirts on over there, stand up so they can see you. This is a group of my supporters that I just want you all to know that I'm not alone. That said, let me address real specifically and to the point the questions that I was told that are likely to need to be addressed. The subject of prepaid college. The fact of the matter is that Senator Sachs and her colleagues have done a tremendous job, along with the governor of the state, to bring down the cost of prepaid, and it's now restored. Student loans. My dear friend and colleague, Lois Frankel, and I work on this issue rather continuously, and we both believe that student loans should be refinanced. If you can refinance your home, you ought to be able to refinance your loan. And as it pertains to crime and prevention, the best crime and prevention is a job. And I believe that we should have a living wage, not just a minimum wage, for all of our citizens. And for the benefit of the governor, somebody take him the message that to believe that somebody can really make it in this society on $7.35 and that people lost jobs because of the minimum wage. I'm 78 years old. I've seen 6 minimum wage increases in my life, and McDonald's never went out of business, not one time. Therefore, I don't believe people are going to lose their jobs. And on the subject of property insurance and bipartisanship, Mr. Spain, you would have liked to have seen Lois Frankel and I at work with Vern Buchanan, a Republican. You would like to have seen us work with the Ways and Means chairman to try and bring down property insurance as it pertains to flood insurance specifically. And I'm the co-chair of the Florida delegation. We work on Everglades issues and transportation issues, and we do it in a bipartisan fashion.
I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Thank you.
So that in all the public schools, all the children will have an opportunity to have 15 global languages taught, to keep them in competitiveness with jobs all over the world. Secondly, I filed a bill that's now law, giving every public school teacher an opportunity to take free courses at state colleges and universities in STEM classes, and that's science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Second, and the most important thing I've done, I was so proud of, it took me 3 years. We brought Technion of Israel here to FAU in Palm Beach County. And that will not only bring jobs, that will bring also careers from all over the world. Thank you very much.
It's flu season again. Have you had your flu shot? Have you urged others to do likewise? More people are going to die from influenza than are likely to die from Ebola. The simple fact of the matter is that the simple fact of the matter is we aren't going to shut down flights from Asia because of the flu, and if any of you had any of those issues, you would understand. This is just the first of many potential pandemics. There are 30 viruses in this world that are equal to what Ebola is or worse. And shutting down flights would mean, among other things, that we shouldn't go in and come out. Stopping it at its source is what this nation is doing and what this nation ought to do and what the world needs to do.
Thank you. Congresswoman Frankel, you wish to respond?
We have to contain it at the source. By the end of January, it's anticipated 1.6 million cases of Ebola in West Africa. We cannot let our eye off the ball there. The borders are too porous. Shutting down a few flights will give us false security. And we got to stop it where it is, because the infrastructure in West Africa right now is almost non-existent. And so I think today we sent some troops, about 3,000 troops. And this has to be an international response or we will have a pandemic.
We need to go to the source, but we also need to close the areas down that are sending people to this country. We need to close the borders on our southern borders, because I talked to a general the other day, a well-respected general, and he told me his greatest fear is this virus spreads to Central and South America. Then the people in those countries will flee north into the United States to avoid the Ebola virus, and the people that are carrying the virus will come along with them. Then we have a real problem. So I say, let's mount a worldwide, world-class effort to go to the source of this disease and eradicate it. Again, I mentioned before, 15 seconds, I mentioned before that it's a 90% death rate. This is nothing to take lightly. Our government must step up. It must not use immigration policies to thwart efforts to stop a serious disease from entering this country. Thank you.
So I kind of want to address that, because if sharing the values of the people in this audience is about serving my community for over 30 years, then we share our values. In my faith, there's something called tzedakah. So that's how, it's just a part of who I am. If serving abused and neglected children as a foster parent is something that's in your value system, I share it. If authoring and passing as a legislator the anti-bullying bill, which is adopted by many other states to protect the safety of our children, then I share your values. If working hard to improve public education in our school system so that all children can have an equal educational opportunity, then I share your values. My husband is in the National Guard and served in Iraq in 2008 and 2009, serving our country. And if that's something that you support, then I share your values. If taking care of your children and providing them a quality education and making sure that they're successful adults, and that's what you do as a parent and a grandparent, then I share your values. We're not going to agree on everything, that I know. There's no question. But I would encourage you, because we're not going to have the time to do it at this particular forum, but I would ask you to look at my record, and I would encourage each and every one of you to give me a call. We are not going to agree on every issue. But as one of my friends said in the political process, if you agree with somebody 100% of the time, don't vote for them, marry them. So I want to thank you all very much for the opportunity, and I apologize for having to leave.
Thank you. Two special committees. One is education policy, the other is education appropriations. And in those committees, what I help to advocate for is that we have career paths in our schools, so that when a person is in middle school, they can decide whether they want to go to an IB program, whether they want to go into computer tech, whether they want to go into medical services. And that way we are providing jobs and careers for our students right out of school. And that's what we need to do. We don't need to import labor from other countries. We need to find the greatest talent that this state has is our students, is our children. And that's why our first priority has to be in education. And you know, we need more technicians when it comes to air conditioning. We need more engineers when it comes to anything with regard to plumbing. Believe me, if you need a plumber, you need him now.
Senator Sachs.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Mr. Silvers.
I'll second that when it comes to vocational programs. I would love to see vocational programs brought back into our public school system. There are a lot of students that aren't ready for college, either not, and giving them a skill set so they can be productive in society would be something special to give that next generation. If you're graduating with a degree, it means a lot, but it would mean so much more if you gave them a skill set like a plumber, or if they became a carpenter or electrician. So many people are successful without going to college, and I'm not saying college is bad, but everybody may not be ready for it right after high school.
I indicated at the outset that I'm a former mathematics teacher in the public schools, and so I understand these arenas. I fully agree with what both my colleagues have just stated, and that is the choice in education ought to be wide, and we ought to encourage our children to pursue a wide range of activities. Just take something like Microsoft certification. That certification alone can bring a $50,000 a year job. That's one example. There are any number of other examples of things that we can do and ought rightfully do. Thank you.
I favor balancing the budget of the United States. And in part, we've done some things. The sequester allow for some cuts across the board. It's exceedingly difficult in the environment that we're in, where people in this room will say, tax him, tax she, tax that man behind the tree, but don't tax me. And at the very same time, require and expect extraordinary undertakings on our respective behalves. Florida, the state, has a balanced budget requirement. There should be no reason, in my judgment, that the federal government couldn't as well.
I got to give a little different perspective. Well, I think first of all, let me just say this. I think the most important issue facing this country right now is jobs. And that's where the focus should be, in creating the jobs, investing in our infrastructure, investing in education, protecting Medicare and Social Security so our seniors can get out there and spend their money in the stores. So I think that's what we should be focusing on. When it comes to the federal budget, right now we're in what's called the sequester. So our spending levels are such that I think we're not spending the kind of money we need to on things like infrastructure, Pell Grants, child care.
You know, it would be nice if our federal government could balance a budget. As we all know, some debt is good. But when you exceed the parameters of the ability of people to pay that debt back, that's not good. We can't keep running up a credit card in our federal government side and expect good things to happen. You know, we have a debt right now that's gone in 2008 from $7 trillion to $18 trillion. That's our short-term debt, our 5-year debt. That never ends well. As a financial advisor, I will tell you, when interest rates rise, when other things happen in the world economy, it does not end well. Our overall debt is over $150 trillion when you consider the other federal commitments that we have. We have to have people in Washington, D.C. that know how to balance a budget and look out for the taxpayers. Thank you.
We have a balanced budget, but we should also pay back the debt. We are in a financial crisis right now. We're on the verge of a financial collapse. And the problem that we have is that we are in so much debt that we can't end up being able to cover the basis. What we're doing right now is printing money. And the printing of money is devaluing our dollar. It's devaluing what we can end up being able to purchase with our dollar. If you're seeing the rise of bread, why is a loaf of bread costing more each day? That's because the value of the dollar is decreasing. We need to pay off the debt. We need to also balance the budget. We have to be fiscally responsible in Washington, D.C. You want to talk about increasing jobs? Get the United States of America's budget on track, and you will look at businesses will open their doors and start spending money. We have a lot of money available for investment in the private sector, but we're scared because of the debt.
Were the Indians running down the shoreline saying, "Discover me," when that occurred? The simple fact of the matter is everybody in here came from somewhere, and when the deal goes down,
Please.
Lois and I have participated with 195 members of Congress that have asked for a bipartisan effort of immigration reform, and John Boynton and the Republicans will not put it on the floor.
Congressman Hastings, please.
The immigration rules and regulations are set by these folks at the federal level. That's where the Constitution places it. If you want resolution, you can see them in front of you, call them up, and ask them to get on it. Thank you.
Well, you know, we can't shirk from this responsibility just because we don't have the jurisdiction to take care of our borders. We here in the state of Florida have done something amazing last year. We filed the DREAM Act and we passed it. I was very much of a strong advocate. What this means is this: when there is an undocumented student here in the state of Florida, and they have completed high school here in the state of Florida, they're undocumented, they can now attend a state college or university and pay in-state tuition. And that's huge. So many thousands of our students were not able to go to our colleges because they'd have to pay out-of-state tuition. So now, and we had a big celebration at Broward College, now all the undocumented aliens who are students who came here because their parents brought them here. And they didn't walk over the border by themselves. They came here as children. They're now able to do that. So we in the state of Florida are addressing that, and I'm very proud of what we did in the Senate. Thank you.
Mr. Silvers.
Well, following with what Senator Sachs just said, we have a lot of immigrants that have attained advanced degrees. These are very intelligent individuals, and we should try to retain that very talented job force. We should get them visas, and we should get them jobs, well-paid jobs, jobs that, like I mentioned before, not part-time jobs, but full-time jobs. We want to keep the people that are educated here. We want to keep them here.
Thank you.
Tallahassee does not come back down below Lake Okeechobee. I'll be a fighter for that, making sure that the proper amount of money will be coming back down to South Florida.
Thank you. Representative Hager.
Thank you very much. The sales tax is collected at the local level. It's collected by businesses, and it's remitted to the state of Florida, who takes it in and as has been communicated here, reallocates it. Unlike my opponent, I have been in Tallahassee, and I fought in connection with a whole series of bills to increase the take for Palm Beach County. I'm lucky enough to be reelected. You can count on me continuing in that effort. Thank you very much.
Senator Sachs.
Thank you very much. I've been on the Finance and Tax Committee for a number of years, for the last 4 years that I've served in the state Senate. And I know that we are a donor county, that we give up, we send up to Tallahassee more than we get back. And this is part of what I was talking about at the very beginning, is our values. The values that we have here in Palm Beach County are that when we send money up to Tallahassee, we should be getting it back. In this last session, I studied which areas did not receive money from Tallahassee, and I found that Florida Atlantic University, our schools, and Broward College were all underfunded. And so I made it a point to make sure that every one of those educational institutions got more money than they've ever gotten before. And I also was able to get enough money to bring it back down home, which is what I talked about in the very beginning, so that we were able to start a medical school here at FAU. And everybody knows here that when we need more doctors. And I'm very proud to say that in the first graduating class, we had 6 of them.
Senator Sachs, I'm sorry, your time is up.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Being sustained. We have to address that issue in a meaningful way. There is a bipartisan effort that will allow for it to be addressed in an appropriate manner. I am extremely disturbed that this state would not expand Medicaid. What kind of people are we? We're going to leave 850,000 or more of our citizens in the precarious position of needing health care? And what did they do? They present at the emergency room. And what do? You wind up paying taxes in order to provide for them to go to the emergency room. That was one of the craziest mistakes that I believe has ever been made in my lifetime. Now, we have these fine students here, and we need to make sure in this great state of ours that the Bright Futures program is funded and restored so that they might be able to go to college. We need to stop this testing business, racing to the top, Common Core, and every time you look around, a new math, not teaching cursive, the need for greater technology. Many of these schools, not Quantum, not this high school, have floppy disks. And that's just crazy. We cannot do ourselves this way. We cannot continue down a path that will not allow for all of our citizenry to be participatory. If Walmart's family
I'm sorry,
has
Congressman.
more money than
I'm sorry,
40%
Congressman,
of the country,
your time
that's
is up.
dead wrong.
Congressional District 20 is our most needed congressional district. You look at the demographics of this congressional district, it is 54% black. We're talking 13% Republican. We're talking in terms of it's 66% Democrat. There's a 5-to-1 Democrat to Republican relationship in this congressional district. The problem with that said is that Congressional District 20 has been painted a Democratic district. You're talking everyone in this district has been put into a big blue box, been put up on a shelf with a nice D on it, and set up there in Washington. Unfortunately, everything that Congressman Hastings wants to end up bringing here, he's hampered because we're looking at, he's guaranteed a vote, and that the money that's spent in Washington is spent for the next election. I wish that we would end up looking at, in this review of the boundaries of our congressional districts, that we would look at, and maybe the League of Women Voters would end up looking at, the reauthorization of this congressional district to be considered in that area. And the reason being is because it spreads out and actually gives a greater reach for the people in this congressional district. And it's just one of the things that it just, you know, I'm running because I care. And I'm running because I care for the people in Congressional District 20. And this is one of the issues that really needs to be fixed.
Thank you, Mr.
It's a monumental decision. This is one of the most important elections in my long lifetime. If we simply send the incumbents back to office in our nation's capital, nothing will change. We will go from one emergency to the other. We've seen it already. Our national debt will continue to spiral out of control. Our seniors will suffer. Their health insurance will increase mightily over the next 3 years. There's a reason why the health insurance law is designed to not take full effect until 2018. It's because if the American public discovered the true cost of the program, they would revolt. I say to you, it's time to have someone else in Washington that's not a career politician, that cares for people, and that cares for the future of our children and our grandchildren. Because right now, us, are assigning them a debt that they will never be able to pay. And I don't want that to happen. I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, and I do not want my children and grandchildren to have less opportunity than I had when they grow up. Now, to close this, I would like to challenge my opponent to a debate on all of the issues, not just the issues presented here by the League of Women's Voters. This is the third time that I've requested a debate. The people in the district are asking for it, and as our elected representative, she should be able to debate anyone on the issues. So that's my challenge for the day. My 15 seconds is up. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure meeting everyone tonight, and I hope to see you more after November 4th.
You know what? I look out at this crowd. You know, some of you are Republicans, some Democrats, Independents. Doesn't matter. You know what? There's so many things we have in common. I think we all believe that people should have an opportunity, if they want to work hard, they're going to have a good life, that have a chance to have a family, and they should be able to retire in dignity. We can agree on that. And here's my pledge to you. When I go back to Washington, I'm going to fight for you. And I am going to make sure that you keep your Social Security, your Medicare benefits, that they don't go down, that they are protected because you earned them. I'm going to make sure that for folks like my son, who's a veteran, that we stand up for veterans, that they get their benefits and the education that they deserve. They stood up for us, and we need to stand up for them. And number 3, we've got to expand our middle class. We got to get it back. We got to jumpstart it. And that means investing in our infrastructure, both the physical, like modernizing our economy, and in our people, educating our children, raising that minimum wage, and making sure there is equal pay for equal work. I want to thank you all. I'm Lois Frankel, and I'm always on your side.
You know, folks, I've worked hard in this district for a quarter century, and I'm going to stand on my record. I've been formulating legislation for 12 years. Here are the groups and here are the people who endorse me and stand with me. I lay this at your feet for you to reflect on. Palm Beach County Human Rights Council endorses me for my work relating to discrimination in the workplace. The American Cancer Society endorses me. The League of Cities has named me Legislator of the Year. In terms of the leaders in this community, West Palm Beach Commissioner Shannon Matera, Palm Beach County Commissioner Steve Abrams, Highland Beach Commissioner Lou Stern, Lantana Mayor Dave Stewart, Palm Beach Shore Mayor John Workman, Boca Raton Mayor Susan Haney. These are people that stand with me, have watched me work in this district for over a decade. That's my closing statement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Silvers. 2 minutes.
Well, I'm proud to say that I have the endorsement of the Palm Beach Post. It actually came out last night. The headline was actually "Centrist Silvers is the better choice," because they know that I'm going to work for families, for homeowners, and for seniors. They said a pragmatic approach up in Tallahassee, pragmatic leadership is what we need. I'm going to bring that to Tallahassee. I've heard my opponents say on many, many occasions, this is a part-time job. But these are full-time issues. Property insurance, schools, the environment, sober homes. I welcome that opportunity to give all these issues and the district the attention they deserve. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Senator Sachs.
Thank you very much. And we're all here today, and I especially like to acknowledge the students who are here because you are very important to hear all of us. My only complaint, and I give this for everybody to see, is that I have an empty seat next to me. I have an empty seat at a forum that is so important to everybody here. You all came here for a reason. You came here to hear a debate between two candidates for the state senate. This isn't the first time, this is actually the third time that my opponent has left before we were able to really engage in a conversation. And as I said at the very beginning, I said to you, you have to have a choice. Elections are a choice. You have to look at one candidate and decide whether that candidate shares your values and was able to be effective as a legislator in Tallahassee. But that debate is not able to continue here tonight because we have an empty seat. But I can tell you one thing, for the last 4 years that I've been in Tallahassee, I have fought hard for the working men and women. It's not that I have great lobbyists or corporate interests that take care of me. Most of my, if not all of my financial support has come from small checks from the people who are standing looking at me right now today. And that's because I work for you. And I will continue to work for you. I will especially work for the students because you are the future of our state. We need to grow up as a state. We have to stop being one of the worst states in the country and come up to be a global state of the state of Florida that we're all proud of. And I look forward to getting your support and your vote come November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you.